Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight. Let me tell you, you are about to be a part of a very special edition of Conversations with Cupid. Tonight, you will be getting the inside scoop on a very special event coming to Oklahoma City. It is the story of Greenwood in Tulsa, Oklahoma, better known as Black Wall Street, and it's making its way across the world. The hidden truth about that event is being told in a very fascinating way, and tonight, you get to hear all about it and our opportunity to not just be entertained, but to be inspired and educated. Now, if you're new to these weekly conversations, I got to tell you, welcome to the family. Yes, I consider you family. We're excited that you found your way here. If you've missed any of our previous conversations, you can go back and find them on my YouTube channel. Just jump over to YouTube, look for Conversations with Cupid, and when you get there, be sure to subscribe, and then you can browse some of those past conversations. But right now, what you need to do is a huge favor for me and share tonight's conversation. Please don't keep this conversation to yourself. It's too important. It's too fun, too. We want as many people as possible to join the conversation. So please hit the share button, start a watch party, do whatever you got to do. Do it now. All right. I got to give a special thanks and shout out to my friends at Green Pasture Studios for hosting our weekly conversations. My friends Richard and Amy James are running things out there, and I love all the exciting things they're doing out in Spencer, Oklahoma. They are doing everything from full-fledged movie production, commercials, and they even have a training academy, which you all should be looking up. There's a lot of people that need jobs. Look them up. But as you can see, we have taken the show on the road for this special conversation. We are at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Northeast Oklahoma City, and this church has been an important cornerstone in this city for many, many years, and there's no evidence to suggest or to cause anyone to think that that's going to change anytime soon. But more about that in just a minute. As you know, I have only 3 simple goals for these weekly conversations. Let me tell you what they are. 1, I simply just want to add value to people and value to my community. 2, I want to inspire you to believe on what people can become when we're willing to work together. And last but not least, love people. Love people, period. All this means is I want you to be inspired. I want you to get useful information and resources. And I want to celebrate individuals, groups, and organizations who are making a positive impact on our community. Every conversation will be about information, inspiration, and hope. Now, as you can see, we have stopped by one of the most active churches in Oklahoma City, and we happen to be here in the middle of yet another community outreach. This awesome church is always hosting community events. Our friend Pastor Derek Scobie is here to tell us much more about what's happening here today. And yes, Pastor Scobie is always a special guest to have joining me, but today we have someone even more special than him. Can you imagine? And I can say that because the playwright and the director of the play Deep Greenwood, The Hidden Truth of Black Wall Street, Mia Simone Walter, has joined me today, and she happens to be family, y'all. She's my cousin. That makes it special. So Mia is right here from Oklahoma City, and she now lives in Atlanta, and she has dedicated a significant amount of time, prayer, money, and energy into researching the history of Black Wall Street, and has used all of her knowledge, all of her skill, abilities, and God-given talent to tell us the truth and the hidden truth of an event that truly shaped the lives of not only our state, but the people in our nation. Her mission is to inspire, empower, and enlighten every generation through storytelling. And so here to tell us all about this event and much, much more is my friend and my partner in crime, Pastor Derek Scobie, and my family member and transformational director, playwright, actress, Mia Simone Walters. But before we get into the conversation, check out this really short clip from the play.
Sick and tired of getting treated like a second-class citizen.
I say we just let them kill each other off.
Well, that sounds good, but it might take too long.
There is no qualification process. As long as they have the money to purchase the land, they can have it.
But I would never sit back and be disrespected by any man, no matter his color. Now, that's why it's so important for us to have our own business district so we don't have to go on that side of the tracks for anything. Independent, intelligent, and resilient people coming together, no longer made to feel like an inferior race.
Our primary objective is to create more black businesses So our money circulate around our community.
Besides, any money they make will probably be spent on booze and women anyway.
And I must say, everything is coming together quite well. We got a school, we got 3 grocery stores, a bank, a newspaper, 2 theaters, 2 physicians, a lawyer. And that's just the name.
Yeah, Johnny said one of his boys went over there, and that ruckus jazz music was unruly and loud, but the fights between them was even louder.
I want my people to look in my building and know that as a culture, we can fulfill anything that we set our minds to accomplish. And the next time someone says that our people are worthless, to be able to look in my building and know that we're more than worthy, that we're able to do what any other race is able to do, and better than they could. Because regardless of what they say, we're not only equal, we're extraordinary.
Okay, Pastor Scobie, welcome to the show. Hey fam, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, this is good. Tell us, you're pulling off another community event, Pastor. What is going on outside today?
It's a lot going on under the leadership of Dr. Wanda Johnson, our Director of Christian Education. We are doing a collaborative work with Langston University, actually their physical therapy department. So we've done this for the last 6 years, where they come and they bring about 35 students for community outreach, gives them some volunteer hours as well, helps with credits. And it's just a great event. That is under the leadership of Dr. Alicia Pollard, who is the dean of that physical therapy department. So it is called Health and Wellness Game Zone. So just fun and creative ways for people and families to come and get health checks and things of that nature. So we're excited about it. We've, again, last 6 years, but in April 2020, we were not able to do it. I remember Dr. Johnson, she told me something about we may have to cancel it. This was in late February. And I said, for what? And she said something about this COVID. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
What is that?
Like, what is that? But here was where my mind was, Waylon. It was, there's no way we're going to have to cancel something because of some virus.
Right.
That's just not going to happen.
And they shut down a whole NBA season, so church has got to, it's somewhere on the list. Yeah, right. Church event is somewhere on the list. Now, we're here, but you also have family. You found my family member, and of course I knew her, but she was a little girl. She was a little girl, and I didn't really connect. So you start telling me that you've connected with my family member on this other event that you are supporting. Tell me how you got connected to Mia.
Well, so Andrea Anderson, who owns the print shop right here on 36 next to Black's, florist, she has been doing a lot of work for us for the last 6 years. She is just superb in everything that she does, and I trust her.
And she's creative.
Oh my goodness,
gosh, yeah.
She is creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the type that in corporate America, if someone really knew about her, because she's a jewel, they would say, hey, please come and we'll pay you, $150,000, $200,000 a year with all that she brings to the table. But she loves being an entrepreneur and doing her deal, and I'm grateful, because she would cost way too much if she worked for somebody else. So she had reached out to me and told me about her uncle, Greg Williams, who was promoting this play and bringing it to Oklahoma. And she asked, would I consider, when it was all said and done, would I consider taking the lead, even from a financial standpoint, to bring this play? And so I sat down with Greg. I knew Greg from back in the day, in the 80s. We're old, so I remember the work that he did in the city in the 80s, 90s, and so I heard the vision just that he shared. I hadn't even met Mia, and I felt comfortable enough because of my relationship with Andrea, and as well then this newfound friendship with Greg, that it was just something that I needed to do. Is it money involved? Absolutely, but it was not in my mind or heart that, I have to make this money on this production. It was, this is a story that needs to be told. Now, I don't have money to just throw away in the wind, but my thought was, if I could just kind of get close to breaking even, it would be okay. And so I got involved, and then Greg, he introduced me to Mia, and
you're
the
all
rest
in.
was history. Yeah, and I heard her passion, her zeal, and I was like, yeah, this is the real deal all the way.
Now, Mia, what did you say to get him all fired up? What happened? First, we need to establish. Have you figured it out? Have we really connected exactly how we're family? We knew that we had the same last name, and
Yes.
your dad's last name is my last name, but we weren't able to connect the dots on the phone. But then we got to digging. You figured it all out now.
Yes, with your help, we have figured it out, and I'm just astounded about our family history, and I appreciate you shining some light on the family history that I've been wanting for years.
Yeah.
So I think it's amazing how we share, the same.
We actually share the same
great-great-grandmother.
great-grandmother.
So
We go all the way back to
amazing.
we can track all the way back to 1880.
Yes.
Is where our bloodlines kind of intersect right there.
Yes,
That's pretty
yes.
cool. That's pretty cool. Well, okay, so tell me, because we could talk forever. That's a whole show. That's
Yeah.
a whole show. Trail of Tears
Yes.
and all that kind of stuff, whole show. But tell us what it was that you said to get somebody like Pastor Scobie fired up about supporting and really promoting the work that you're doing with this play.
Well, when I had the pleasure to sit down with Pastor Scobie, I basically informed him about all the research that I've done and put into the play, even making the play, because I did the research for a year and a half before I wrote anything. So I kind of explained to him every aspect of what it took to even get this script written. And then I think we connected with the overall picture of the unity that I'm trying to get people to understand, how important it is for us to come together and unite and make a change. Especially the way the world is today, we all need to come together and pull our resources together and really make a difference. And that's what I love about Pastor Scobie, because he's in the community, he's making a difference. And the reason I wrote this play is because I wanted people to understand where we came from. Mm-hmm. We come from greatness. We come from people who were able to come together and build a business community and thrive for many of years. And how important it was for them to be together, and their unity helped build that community. And after the massacre, that unity helped them rebuild again,
Right.
and they thrived until the 60s. And so I think me and Pastor Scobie
Doctor's
connected.
okay. Yeah, doctor's okay.
We connected with the overall picture of what the meaning of Black Wall Street has, and the impact that it has back then and what the impact it has today.
Walk me through your process. Year and a half of reading, researching, the whole time. Did you know you were going to write this play, or how fast you was going to do it? Because we had a long talk about how this actually came from research to actual production.
So when I started, I was actually writing a TV series, and it was like a comedic TV series. And I had found out the history of Black Wall Street in 2002 from someone whose family had a business there. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna write a story about that. I'm gonna write a play about that. But right now, I'm gonna write this TV series. And so I go to sleep, and I get woken up in the middle of the night. God is like, write the story about Black Wall Street. I'm like, no, God, it's too deep. It's too heavy. Let me write a comedic piece first. Then I can follow it up with the history of Black Wall Street. So pretty much every night that week, God was waking me up and saying, no, you need to write this play. And I said, okay, God, I surrender. I ain't gonna get no sleep. So I would definitely go ahead and start. And a cousin of mine, he had called me like the next day, and I made an agreement with God. I was like, cousin, you need to write a play about Black Wall Street. I said, you and God been talking, I said, but yeah, I'm definitely going to do it. So that was in 2012. And so then I started doing research I didn't know how long I was going to research. My cousin kept calling me, "Did you write it yet?" This week and 2 weeks. I was like, it's going to take a while, but it took a year and a half. And I kept going down to Tulsa to the Greenwood Culture Center. If anybody is familiar with Tulsa, definitely go to the Greenwood Culture Center. They have all the history, artifacts, pictures of Black Wall Street, even the Mabel Little Heritage House, which was Sam and Lucy Mackey's house. And that tour is amazing if you ever go to Tulsa. So I went down there countless times. They know my name. And was doing research. I watched every documentary at that time. I checked out every book. I even went through the Supreme Court documents from when they were fighting to rebuild Black Wall Street in 1921. I went through the transcripts, and a lot of those words, testimonies are in the play. So I try to stay as true to the facts as possible. In a lot of the books I read, a lot of the interviews, I quote a lot of things that were said, just so I could stay true to the history.
So, Pastor Scobie, what about, obviously last year we had a lot of events, a lot of people telling stories about, there's been major motion picture stuff done on this. What stood out to you that made this so unique, and is why that you got behind it? What was different?
Well, the Supreme Court, her actually doing that research beyond all of the research at the Cultural Center, but actually getting into the court records and really digging in there, I knew that she took it a step further. But then something as simple as this, I believe it's called, is it Lindy Hop? What is it called?
Is it the dance, the swing dance? Yeah, the Lindy Hop, yeah.
So she really wants this Lindy Hop dance to be in the play. Mm-hmm. Well, Lindy Hop is, you don't know how to do the Lindy Hop.
I know, so yeah, I don't know how to do the Lindy Hop, but Lindy Hop, the dance that my wife and I do, called swing out or step in, all of those things, it only came about because of Lindy Hop. Right, yeah, it's a lead follow dance. The guy is leading, the woman is following, and if it was anything like it is today, it was a thing to do. It was a culture.
Yeah,
at that time, and so in today's time, really the only culture that you will see who really truly knows Lindy Hop would be the white culture. Mm-hmm. Well, you're not bringing, no, there are a lot of white people in the play, but not during the dance scene, right? So, but she was like just emphatic about having to have this Lindy Hop in there and did not want to let go of that because she wanted, like me as a preacher, want to stay true to the text. Mm-hmm. I want to stay true to the text. She wanted to stay true to really what transpired. Now, I say all that to say, I think she's finally had to relent a little on the Lindy Hop.
You can't find Lindy nowhere.
You can't find them. Mm-hmm. So it'll be kind of the swing out type, but like somebody like me, I wouldn't have a clue the difference between the two of them. But because, but she did everything she could do to find African American people that could do Lindy Hop. But after reaching out to obviously yourself and Sandy Brown and others, just can't find that. So just little things like that, it let me know she's serious about this.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, this play has been presented in the Atlanta area, mm-hmm. and then I believe once or twice in the Oklahoma City area, but on a small scale, mm-hmm. but not with star power. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference. And because to us, our culture, Cherrelle is a star. Mm-hmm. She was our 1980 R&B sensation. Yeah. But then Byron Cage, he is a star
right now.
Yeah, right now. And Cherrelle is a star right now. She's still holding her own. Yeah. So that gives a little bit more credence to it overall.
So talk about those additions to the play. So there's a couple of things that he said that I really want to unpack. Is first I want to unpack what's the significance of the Lindy Hop in the story? why holding on to that?
Because what I wanted, in this play, I want to take people on a emotional roller coaster, but to really get them to have an experience. You know, that's my overall. I want them to experience what was going on back then, the culture, the nature, everything, from the good, the bad, the ugly, everything, every aspect. And Thursday is May's Day Out. And Thursday, May's Day Out, is when that community in Deep Greenwood would dress up in their best, you know, outfits and really hit the town, even if it was just a walk around the town. But the culture, the music then, you know, and what they were dancing to and the way they were dancing, I wanted people to experience that. You know, we don't get to experience that anymore. So I wanted just for that moment for us to peek back into 1921, 1920 and see them do that Lindy Hop. You know, what does that look like? And so that was just like really important to me, just to take them on that journey to have that experience.
Yeah, and so now we have, that makes sense, that makes perfect sense, and I can feel it now, like, yeah, May's, we need to bring that day back.
May's Day Out.
Yeah, let's do that.
Thursday, May's Day
Where did
Out.
May's come from? Was that
So back then, a lot of the people in the Deep Greenwood community worked on the other side of the tracks. So back then, what separated the black side of Tulsa from the white side of Tulsa was the Frisco Railroad tracks. So a lot of those people in the black community had to travel, I would say, north of the Frisco tracks so that they could go and work you know, over there. And they worked as, you know, maids and different things, you know, shoe shine boys and all of that. And so one day a week, and I thought it was Sunday for some reason. I just, in my mind, was like, okay, Sunday was, but it was Thursday was May's Day Off, when all of the people who worked on the other side of the tracks actually got to stay in Deep Greenwood that day and enjoy their time.
So no cleaning that day,
No cleaning,
shoe shining
no
that
shoe
day?
shining.
Isn't that
They
something?
just got to enjoy their day, and they enjoyed it. So that's why I really wanted to highlight it, because that was their day off, that they could just be themselves and show, you know, what they had. You know, this is what I've worked for all week, you know, and I just wanted people to see what that felt like, because for them, it was a big deal. They made it a big deal. I mean, the women would leave with their fur on, and, you know, the men in their tailored suits and cufflinks, and that day was significant. And I wanted people to just kind of get a glimpse of it.
Yeah, any sense for how long that went on? How many years did that go on before?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew when I first wrote it, because I wrote all the notes down.
Right.
But again, I wrote it and researched it back in 2012, finished it in 2013, and actually sat on it until 2017. And so it's been some years since I've really laid my eyes on all of that research.
Yeah.
After I wrote it, which took me a while, like 3 months, and dedication, Monday through Friday, all I did from 5 to 7 was write, you know. And so after I put all of that into the script, I stepped out, and now it's, you know, post-production, like, you know, trying to get everything together.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since I laid my eyes on some of that research.
Tell me what's the, what, you haven't, this is not the first time you've put it on, like you said, it's been in Atlanta and some other places. I think you did it up in Tulsa.
Yeah.
And so tell us where it's been, how it's done, how it's been received, and then the impact that what it feels like, what are people telling you when they leave?
Okay. So we began casting in 2017 in Atlanta. We put our first show on in April 2018. And then we were in the Atlanta Black Theater Festival for their reading portion in 2018, October 2018. And then we did the Douglas High School auditorium.
How did I miss that? Did you miss
it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was, for all of these years, I've been doing it on my own. So I don't have a big budget, you know, so a lot of advertising and marketing, I had to come out of my budget, and I had a really, really small budget. So I didn't get to, you know, get a word out. I had like maybe one radio drop, you know, and it was really word of mouth, you know.
Right.
That's all I could rely on, because at that time I was fully producing the show, I was directing the show, I'm in the show. So everything was on my shoulder, and I really didn't have enough support to really get it out the way I wanted to get it out. And so February 2020, I did the Douglas Auditorium, and then I did the Greenwood Culture Center in Tulsa. And then the next weekend, we did the Little Rock Theater Festival. And then COVID hit, and it shut everything down. And I was in my feelings about that.
Of course.
I was like, I just got the momentum going, you know. And so then in February of this year, I had an opportunity to talk with Greg Williams. My dad knew him, and he told him about my play. And I was praying. I said, God, you wouldn't let me go to sleep at night. You told me to write this play. I need support. I need help. I need some people to help me, you know, take all of these, you know, hats off, you know. And so when Greg called, I felt like it was answered prayer. And then when he got Pastor Scobie involved, I'm like, God, thank you. You know, finally, it can get to where you always show me it was going to be, because God gave me this vision. He showed me what it was going to be. But for years, I couldn't see it. You know, I'm like, God, I'm working off my own paycheck. I'm a mother of two, you know, I got 2 children. I'm a single mother, you know, and I'm trying, but I just can't get it to the masses. My overall is I want to get this story to the masses so people can really understand the full story of Black Wall Street and how powerful it is, and how powerful it was. So,
tell me where the addition of these stars, these headliners, how has it changed the game, and how has it changed the story?
Man.
And can I interject one thing before she shares that? So Mia talked about the working with her own budget, like one radio drop. And I think at that time those tickets were like $15 or $20 or something like that.
$20, yeah.
Okay, so now I want us to get this in context. So the budget now, so one radio drop, and I want to give a shout out to Kevin Perry that worked the deal out for us. Now over 100 radio drops. Okay, just in context. And then you're talking like $20,000 in star power, okay, with Cherrelle and with Byron Cage, and you're talking about a budget now that is probably 10 times minimum the amount that it was. And Waylon, the tickets are still only, and not at Douglas. Hey, I went to Douglas, praise the Lord for the Douglas Auditorium. It's beautiful, I love it. But we're talking about, we're at OCCC. We're at the Broken Arrow Performing Arts Center right outside of Tulsa. We're at the Cameron Performing Arts Center in Lawton for 2 shows. Now, even with all that, the tickets are still only $30 and $40 for VIP tickets. A budget that's 10 times more than it was, $20,000 in star power, 100 radio drops. And the tickets are not much more. It's just trying to get this communication piece to the masses.
And I'm really excited about this. Well, I can't tell you who the corporate donor is, but they are one of the largest corporations in the state of Oklahoma. They have sponsored 500 tickets for youth to be able to go to this play.
Yes.
So, okay, what was that
The
question?
star power. I want to know what does the star power do to the show? You know, sometimes, you know, they have these special things change the show. You happy with what's going down? Tell us about
Yeah. So what I love about it is Cherrelle is connected to the history, and you know, her and her friends, they knew so much about the history of Tulsa. So I love the fact that she's involved. And she brings, you know, that voice, you know, and I've always had singing in the production. So to have her voice doing that singing role, oh man, it already elevated the production. And then to add Byron Cage's voice on top of that. So I had 2 actors in the production that sung, and now I have 2 singers, you know, national singers who are now singing those parts. So they're adding value
Now,
to that.
are they acting? They like have a role?
Yeah,
or are they
yeah,
just
yeah,
sing?
yeah.
Are they just
No,
gonna
I
sing?
mean, they have a role. Again, my actors were, acting and singing that part. So now they're acting and singing those roles, and so it's just great. It's great to have that star power in there and those voices to really bring those songs to life.
Yeah. Okay. Before we quit, you said. You told me, and I think this is a very interesting thing. Pastor Scobie and I in this city have worked really hard. That's why I call him my partner in crime, because we do a whole lot of unity building, bridge building, sharing stories of one another. Like we do not see. We're an advocate for everybody in the city, and how we just kind of planted our roots kind of on the northeast side, but we're all over the place, and you're telling this story not just from one side, right? Talk without giving away not giving away the thing. Don't give away. But tell us what's so unique about the way you're telling the story.
Okay, so I decided to tell the story from the black side of Tulsa and the white side of Tulsa, so that people can really get a clear understanding of what was going on, the nature of what was going on from both perspectives. Because if we only look at one perspective, then we're only getting half a story, So I felt like it was important for us to get both sides of the story so that we can better understand why the massacre even happened. Because we get to hear the conversations that was going on in the white cafe and the conversations that was going on in the black cafe, because they were talking about the same things, but in different ways.
Yeah.
And
you know that because you've looked at testimony.
Exactly. I did some research. I mean, I dug so far in there that a lot of the, even the white people that were predominant in that area, I even looked into their family history. And everybody knows about the Tulsa Tribune, that article that cited the massacre, and the person who owned that newspaper was Richard Jones. And I even looked into who his father was. That's how deep I got in.
Right.
I'm like, okay, who was his father? So, so in the play, you're going to get a lot of information, a lot of facts of what was going on and the nature of what was going on in that community. And I believe this is the first time you'll really get a peek from both perspectives. And I will say this, I don't never say this, but this is true. It was hard for me to write the other perspective. I don't really say it, but it was truly hard sometimes to read and research, what they thought of blacks back then. But it's the truth. And I had to stay true to the truth as much as possible. It's called the hidden truth because I dug up a lot of things, and a lot of people, are going to see some things and hear some things and some truths that they haven't heard before.
What is it you want the white Oklahoman to walk away when they see it? What do you want them to walk away to know, feel, and do after this experience?
I want them to walk away knowing both perspectives, one. I want them to walk away understanding how everybody played a role in the community at that time. And there was a white man, and you'll see him in this production, who lived in, deep Greenwood with the black community. And I want them to see how he felt and see how they can, relate to that. Because it's some eye-opening experiences in this play. And when I've done it in the past before, I've had a lot of different people, but like the white people come up to me and they're like, hey, this was very eye-opening. I didn't know this, I didn't know that, and a lot of people, when they leave the play, they're like, I want to look this up, I want to see this, and they always leave wanting more information, and excited to learn more. And that was the purpose. Like, you got to spark the conversation. You got to spark it to where people are wanting to look into it themselves.
Right.
And if you can get that, if you can get someone to say, you know what, I really enjoyed this, I want to look this up. I want to get more information. And then I did what I was supposed to do, and I did it for like a group of high school children, and man, they asked me, I always do a talk back at the end, and those high school students asked me probably more questions than the adults. And I was surprised, you know, because I was surprised at how willing they wanted to know more of the history. And so that told me that I needed to get to more high schools and more colleges, because they really don't know, you know, about this history, and they want to know. They really want to know. So I think that it's important for every generation to understand the history.
Do you think it's people don't leave feeling angry? They don't leave feeling, you know, I don't want to say this word. I'm trying to say they don't feel like CRT'd them. They didn't get CRT'd or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Scobie, you see what I'm trying to say? We're not. It's just a feeling of education and inspiration.
Yes, and enlightenment. You know, a lot of people leave and say, I did not know that. You know, I didn't know this. I didn't know this was going on. So whenever they leave with more knowledge of what, you know, of what happened. And so I've had the descendants in Tulsa, you know, a lot of the descendants were in the audience, and they all echoed the same thing. They said, Mia, keep telling this story. Keep doing this, because you know, all of the facts and everything that I've put in it, they said this needs to be shown everywhere. This needs to be, keep going. And for the descendants to talk to me afterwards, well, they did it. They were on, you know, camera on the mic telling me, Mia, keep going. Keep doing this.
That's validation.
That was validation for me.
This is a play I believe that people will walk away from, the left or the right, both left and right will walk away and say, everyone needs to see that play. It is not a divisive play. This is not to bring division, racial division. This speaks more to unification. It speaks to unity. So I just think that people will be really encouraged upon leaving.
And I'm really excited about this. Well, I can't tell you who the corporate donor is, but they are one of the largest corporations in the state of Oklahoma. They have sponsored 500 tickets for youth to be able to go to this play.
All right, let's talk about when the show is,
Yes.
where the show is,
Okay.
how we get tickets, how we get to the website, how we stay connected to the growing movement that this is happening around the world. I know I'm going June 5th.
Yeah.
Me and my circle of friends are going June 5th if I can get hooked up on some of them deep discounts. where it is. But I'm trying. I know some people and some family members, you know, I don't know. But anyway, June 5th, but tell us how to do it, just to get connected.
Well, it's starting in June 3rd at the Broken Arrow Performance Arts Center, and then June 4th at Cameron University, their Performing Arts Center, and then finally June 5th at OCCC's Performing Arts Center. You can get tickets for the Oklahoma City show at the OCCC box office, and then for the Broken Arrow show and the Cameron University, the Lawton and Tulsa show, you can get it at Ticketstorm. And also you can go to my website, deepgreenwoodtulsa.com, and you can get more information about the production. And what was the other question?
Deep discounts, but don't worry, we'll talk about that offline. That's good. But here's one thing I want to ask. I'm going to ask special requests on live on camera. At the June 5th production, at the end of the show, would you do a talk back, answer a few questions for the audience?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, afterwards,
yes,
right?
yes,
Okay,
yes. I
y'all heard it
definitely
here.
have to.
We got a commitment.
Yes,
That was it.
yes.
That's it. I have nothing else. I want to ask. I know that there's we talked. I just don't. My questions will give away the show. So
Yeah.
I don't really want to give away the show. I want people to experience it.
Yeah.
But what we talked about the show that I'm so excited about is that you talk about a great detail, the rebuilding
Yes.
of what was destroyed.
Yes.
The resiliency of
Yes.
that community to come back. And people don't necessarily know all the details of the comeback,
No.
which means it's a very hopeful, inspirational story even after the tragedy that we all kind of know about now after 100 years ago. So I'm really excited that we get to tell this story. I'm excited that you're behind it. I'm excited that you're pushing it. I'm glad. I would expect nothing less from you on something like this. And so thank you all both for sharing, and thanks for doing that show, and thanks for being obedient to what God asked you
Yes.
to do. That's what Q-Dicks do. We're obedient. Anyway, so thank you very much. That is Conversations with Cubit for tonight. Yes, you want to?
It's one thing.
Okay, let's.
Two things. One, we are so very thankful for a very generous sponsor. We have a very, very generous sponsor that chooses to remain anonymous.
But they are one of the largest corporations in the state of Oklahoma. They have sponsored 500 tickets for youth to be able to go to this play.
But another sponsor who thought so much of this is in the person of Mr. Gene Rainbolt,
my
first
friend.
Chairman Emeritus.
Yeah.
He contributed toward this because it's hard to do these type of plays and break even with ticket sales. So we're thankful for Mr. Gene Rainbolt. But it was something you said that Mia was from Oklahoma City, and I didn't hear her say anything about that.
I'm from Spencer.
Yeah,
I'm from Spencer, born and raised.
right. What school did you go to?
I actually went to what high school I went to was Southeast. I was bused to Star Spencer, and I took the bus from Star Spencer to Southeast. And that's because Southeast was a magnet school, and it was a technology school. And so I wanted to be in technology. So
Well,
I was bused.
I have a lot of rivals in Spencer. And so,
that-
if you
see,
don't
we-
mind,
we-
if you don't mind,
We're not from Spencer because we say Spencer.
if you don't mind,
But they
we'll
say-
keep the Southeast Oklahoma City connection from Oklahoma City. If you don't mind, that's the way we're going to roll right now. She can go back home and talk about them folk over there. But
Well, we hope and pray them folk over there come and support from God's country, 73084,
Yes, Spencer.
We want them to come and support.
Well,
Now,
actually,
you can't
let's go
ride
even
any
further.
horses. There's no place to put
we'll go
you got to
even
drive.
further. So the country connection between Mia and I goes all the way back to Southeast Broken Bow, Oklahoma.
Broken Bow, yes.
So we do have a country connection, not just that east side of Oklahoma City. So anyway, thank you so much. That's Conversations with Cubit. Please support this wonderful opportunity we have in Oklahoma City, and we'll see you next week.